Just before we start this video, I'm just going to say a quick note here that there is going to be spoilers in this video for these manga that will be shown in this video, and yeah, let's get directly into it. So with the first volume of Love Hina, we get introduced to Kentaro. He's 19, a klutz, a pervert, and dumb. And he's trying to get into Tokyo University to keep a promise to a girl he doesn't really remember the name of, but he remembers it slightly. And then we get introduced to Inaru, following her dream to get into Tokyo U. We don't know who she promised, but you can tell she's trying to work hard in this first volume, and yeah, she's pretty good at pretty much learning. Mitoku, training to be practically the best swordswoman, I think. She has a sword. She looks like a samurai or a Japanese, samurai, a female samurai, which is really cool. And Mitsun is a drunk and alone and always drunk. She's a drunk woman around the entire thing. We meet Auntie Hakuya. She's just normal. She's a normal, pretty much, person. We meet her at the start. She gives Kentaro the permission to the whole Hinata house, and it's pretty funny because he becomes a landlord. And then we meet Sue, which she's 13, and honestly, she's crazy in this first volume. Honestly, crazy. And then you get Shinobu. She's 12, and Kentaro is a pervert, and in this first volume is crazy because honestly what happened is nuts. You'll have to read it for yourself to fully see why. I'm not going to give too much details on the actual manga itself because I love this series, and pretty much my thoughts on the story development of these characters from the start is really interesting. It's pretty much it's like a puzzle piece, which is insane and really funny. And pretty much Kentaro lies to them, and it seems like he doesn't trust them, so he lies. He's a profitable liar, where he lies constantly without taking accountability. And pretty much he lands in a lot of shit because he lies to Shibuya, who's a impressionable young girl, and it's not great to lie to people in that aspect. But honestly, for this first volume, I don't have much to say because it's just building character development on the characters, which is fun. I love every little chapter that's in that volume. I give it a 7.7 out of 10 because honestly, it's funny. It has some quirky moments. It has some crazy moments. It has Kento getting punched and hitting sky high like Team Rocket. And honestly, it's just entertaining. But yeah, I do recommend you get this for this volume. It's pretty fun. It's pretty amazing. And honestly, it looks good for the cover design, the art, the way the backgrounds are drawn. And honestly, it's so entertaining and funny. It's just incredible. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the first volume of Love Hina. So volume 2 starts off with Kentaro trying to get the smartest girl in cram school to help him out and help him study, and that is Neru. She's pretty much the highest marked test score student in his cram school. She really is reluctant at first, and then he remembers her schoolbook notes and he goes through them, and he tries his best to get her technically school her test stuff secretly, but then he breaks through the ceiling in the hole and sees her getting dressed, and then she punches him, and honestly she wants him to sort it and get it fixed, and then he does do that. He goes to repair it, but then sees her diary and starts reading it, but then gets caught. This volume is so fantastic. It's incredible because he finds out the girl who's promised him that they'd get into Tokyo University was her. At that point, he thinks that anyway. It's interesting, it's outstanding. This volume springs out emotion of Kentaro trying to actually find the girl, and he does read her diary and pretty much gets punched up into the sky. I actually think this volume is a 7.8 out of 10. It's interesting, it's magnificent, and I don't want to spoil too much for you, so I only jotted down a few things. So yeah, that's volume 2. So they were doing that. They did their final exam to try and get into Tokyo U, but they didn't get into the university. But they both chose to go to their separate ways. But they ended up going to the bar. But they didn't know they were both ending up at the bar. They drank and they got into a fight where they were dissing their appearances. It was kind of funny but sad. It was like their entire relationship was over, and they got onto a train not knowing each other was on the train going to the same destination. Nero gave Kentaro a phone, and it was funny because they were both calling the Hinata house, one after the other, and they went to the same place. In the end, Kentaro says to Nero, and whilst he was saying that, the entire Hinata house came to look for them, and it was funny because they all literally came just as they were about to kiss. And yeah, it's a credible story. They build up the character between Nuru and Hinata. It's incredible and interesting, and yeah, I give it a 7.9 out of 10, and that's my review of volume 3. So at the start of volume 4, it's incredible with Kentaro, he and Naru get home from their adventure together, and they have this wired connection. I think Naru loves Kentaro, but she doesn't show it well, because later in the volume we find out that the what she is wearing is the one that Kentaro got her for Christmas. She plays it like she's wearing it for fashion reasons, but you can see she loves him in some way. And later in the volume, Motoko Ayumi randomly challenges Kentaro to a sword fight, and he guesses her slash and catches it, and he wins. And now he can control what she does, and he says he wants her to be more feminine and that takes a funny path through, as Motoko Ayuma thinks she is too tall for being a more feminine, and she gets upset and beats up Kentaro and wins, and she blushes and says she says he doesn't have to take part in her hell training. Honestly, it's so good. And then Kentaro finds out why Naru wanted to go to Tokyo U, and honestly it was because of a tutor that she had when she was 15, and honestly she and Kentaro is now contemplating about the way she feels about him. The almost kiss was a dream, and then Naru shows up because she was worried about Kentaro because it was raining, and because he was now back at the Hinata house after he was searching for a part-time job, and it's not working out. And when Kentaro sees Naru with the umbrella, he hits the fan, and then they go to the house to some questions need to be answered, and honestly more to come. And oh my god, Kentaro was working hard with the man who he met at Tokyo U, who had a crush on, it was pretty much that Nero had a crush on the man that technically he was working with. And yeah, this manga is an 8.8 out of 10. It's interesting, it's funny, it's got plot points that just move people. It's just so good. And yeah, that's volume 4. So in volume 5, Naru and Kentaro got to the festival after Kentaro and Naru was having some time alone, and then Kentaro got hit by a can because his friends made him go on like this date thing with Naru, and pretty much after he got hit by the can, his friends chucked at him. They thought they were helping him, but he fell and pulled Naru down and with him. But honestly, it was a massive mistake, and she hated him for ages and brought her crush Sata to the festival to make Kentaro jealous. And then they spent the entire evening trying to one-up each other, and then they was playing games with each other to mix with their emotions. And it was funny. It was honestly a journey they had pretty much a pantomime where they were doing Journey to the West. It's pretty much incredible because it was like a Dragon Ball reference as well as that incredible classic. And honestly, Matoka lost to Saitama in the sword fight on the stage, and she resented it because she wanted to be like her big sister, and then eventually cuts through the rock with Kentaro on it. He had been tied to the rock. It's crazy that, but then Kitsui knows that Kentaro and Naru had feelings for each other, but other than that, wasn't doing anything about it, and it was crazy. So she does her best, and you can see they are getting closer and closer by the volume because of the way they fought over each other in the festival. So yeah, I think this is 9.3. Kentaro and Naru are pretty much perfect for each other. Seto came in to spin things around, and yeah, it's pretty much a fun volume 5. I really enjoyed it. So volume 6, Kentaro and Naru got super close because of Kentaro's friends gave him a ticket to a theme park and a entire area where they can go and watch movies and stuff that they had to pay for because of what they did last volume, where they hit him and messed up their relationship somehow. But Kentaro asked her on a date, but technically not a date. But they watched a movie and enjoyed each other's company, and it was cute and adorable. And then they had a Christmas party in the next part where it was crazy because Kentaro is buying everyone gifts, and he gets this dress for Naru, and then Naru tells Kentaro that he promised is Mitsumi, and it ends on a cliffhanger because I think Naru thought that the girl that he promised to go to Tokyo University was Matoma-kun, and honestly it gets left on a massive cliffhanger, and honestly volume 7 gets crazy. Volume 6, we found out that Mitsumi was technically the girl that was promised. So Kentaro and Mitsumi promised, but it's not those two, because we find out that it was Naru and Kentaro. And honestly, it made me feel good. And the way this volume used Kentaro and Mitsumi as like a shift to the reader to think it's her and Kentaro. And honestly, this one made me feel so many things, like love, happiness, sadness, and worry, because Kentaro went missing after the real exam had finished. And honestly, I was hoping he is good, but I give this volume a 9.6. And honestly, it's a cliffhanger again because Kentaro went missing in volume 7. To be honest, hopefully he passed. So in volume 9, the story is utter perfection. It's great storytelling in this volume. Kentaro and Naru against Tokyo U. And honestly, don't know, it's so funny with the quick jokes and gags. Honestly, it makes Naru kind of say I love you in some way. And to Kentaro, but she punches him in the end for a laugh about seeing up her dress. And honestly, it's funny, it's entertaining, and honestly, it makes those two seem more connected in certain way aspects. This volume was just to show that they got found on the island, and the entire Hinata house found them, told them that they got in, and it was so cool. They got in, it was incredible, and then at the end, they pretty much Nerd kind of said in a jokingly way or jokingly manner that she loved him, and then punched him because he accidentally slipped and looked up her skirt. It was kind of funny, but yeah, it was a 9.7 out of 10. Really good, really entertaining, and yeah, volume 9 is next. So in volume 9, Kentaro gets up early and goes directly to Tokyo U for the entrance exam or the entrance ceremony because he passed, and pretty much he tries to get to Naru at the end to try and catch up with her to walk in together, but then he gets crushed by a top of a building that lands on his leg to break it, and he heads to the hospital, misses the ceremony. Then he's probably not going to be going into Tokyo U for about 6-7 months for rehabilitation and everything. Everyone at the Hinata house except for Naru at the time goes there and wishes him well and hopes he gets better. And technically they try and make him feel better by saying, yeah, you got into Tokyo U, so you're a Tokyo U student. So it was funny there. And then a little bit later, when it's dark at night, Naru enters the hospital and sees Kentaro, and then when she leaves, Kentaro spurts out that he loves her, and he doesn't even get a response from her at all. Pretty much she doesn't give him a response until the end of this volume, which is funny. And honestly, Kentaro's aunt and Seta, they were going out until Seto has got another woman pregnant, and all that is crazy, and they patched it up at the end, and she does love him, but she's crazy. She can't go out with it. It's a crazy idea to go back out with Seta after all this time. And then Kentaro and Naru start to kiss, but Kentaro kisses her nose, which is funny, and it gave this funny joke ending, which is funny, but it's really good. It was 9.8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the detailing where Naru didn't really give him a clear answer at the start. Then they see each other after he came out of the hospital, and pretty much she didn't tell him, she just kept running away, didn't want to speak, didn't want to do any conflict. Then Seta and his aunt were literally taking Kentaro, and she went after him, and then they met up at the dig site, and then pretty much, yeah, they technically kissed, but he kissed her nose, and it was kind of cute and funny. So yeah, this volume was very good. So volume 10 starts off pretty much with Kentaro and Naru alone in the girls' dorm, and pretty much they try and kiss, but it fails every time. But honestly, they need to take things slower. I thought pretty much, I think they need to take it slower, but then they were deciding about going on a small holiday, and Mitsumi hid all of this and makes a plan, and it doesn't tell them, but she makes Naru get stuck in a clam, and Kentaro had to save her with the help of the turtle. And yeah, pretty much he tries to hold his breath to pull her arm out of the clam, and pretty much it works. They get her out of the clam, and pretty much it's pretty cool. And it's just funny that they had to have the turtle help them. And yeah, that's how the first part starts anyway. And then pretty much Kentaro gets back, and Sue becomes moody, and then everyone thinks she has a crush on Kentaro, but we find out after having a outburst, after Kentaro says he might go overseas with Seta, but then it's because she lost a tooth, and thought everyone hated her. So honestly, that's a good ending to a chapter, but then you find out has a repeat year of Tokyo U because he missed so much, and he finds out Nura is a teacher at night, so she helps out children try and up their grades, which is cool. And he goes in and as a child, which is funny, and she helps him, and pretty much he finds out she thinks highly of him, and she strives to be like him with his archaeological stuff with Seta, and then she gets close to him, hugs his arm because it was cold, but it's because she wants to hug him. And then in the next chapter is Kentaro gets a call from his mother to come home, and he has to for 3 days. And at first everyone was happy he was gone until they needed him around or they would become lazy. And honestly, by the end of it, Nero was worried sick about him. She wanted his number to call, his mother's number to call that, and then she sprinted out of the house and to the train station, and she dropped her shoe, and then she looked up and Kentaro was right there in front of her. She starts crying and she is happy he is back, and so is everyone else. It's funny because they attack him again, but it's funny. So then in the last chapter, Kentaro gives everyone at the Hinata house a note that says they can request anything they want him to do for them. It's like a gift where they technically can do anything but once. So he goes to, and that was because the true meaning behind it was because he was going to work with Seta for half a year, and it's goes even crazier. Everyone gets upset, but Nero was by his side until the end of the chapter for the test he was taking, so he is late, and she helps him up, she gets him that and stuff. And this volume's 9.7 out of 10. It's fantastic. It's really storytelling. It's great. I really enjoyed it. So in volume 11 of Love Hina, it starts with Kentaro finishing the exam that he needs to go with Seta to the archaeology site and be like a understudy for him. He's at the airport pretty much to say goodbye to the whole Hinata family, and it gets sad because Nuru is upset and doesn't really want him to go. But then Kentaro plans, his plane gets delayed by like 5 hours, and whilst Nuru was still at the airport crying, wishing that he didn't go, she spots them, and they tell her that it's been a 5-hour delay, and pretty much Nuru and Kentaro pretty much go on this date for like 5 hours. It's amazing, and it made Nero happy that technically she got to spend more time with Kentaro on like a date. And it ends with Kentaro saying that he will go with Seta and promise when he comes back he will still be madly in love with her, which Nero, and then she falls asleep, and then he's just disappeared and gone. She calls him an idiot for leaving without saying goodbye, but then it skips to 6 months later. Pretty much someone appears at the Hinata house, so we don't really know it's a female, and pretty much everyone aged. Nora is missing Kentaro badly, and she goes off to her job, and then she's strangely back because she's got her job to do as a teacher, and she does questionable stuff to everyone at the Hinata house, and then they find out it's a person with a mask of Nero's face, and apparently it's Kentaro's sister. But how has it crazy? They have similarities, and she turns the Hinata house into a inn and makes all the girls work and has a crush on her own brother, so it technically is a brother complex, which is nuts, which is crazy, and it's kind of weird. And honestly, we find out they're not technically blood related because she was adopted, but At the end, Kentaro returns and ends. This is the end of volume 11. I think it's a 9.8 out of 10. It introduced a new character, which is cool. It makes the story in depth and nice. You see the feelings between Kentaro and Nero connect together. I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. It's just late while I'm doing this, but yeah, it's truly fantastic, and yeah, I enjoyed this volume. So in volume 12 of Love Hina, it's crazy. Honestly, this entire volume is Kentaro trying to give this ring to Nero, but his sister is showing up in his dreams in naughty ways, and it's so strange and uncomfortable. But honestly, it has Kentaro confused his feelings for Nero, but it's his sister. And then they are by a place where it's known for making couples a reality, so it's a story that people believe, and it's a myth. So then Kentaro thinks he's giving the ring to Nero, and then it's his sister, and then the entire rest of this volume is Kentaro running after Nero to find out her true feelings for him, but she keeps running until he falls off the edge of a cliff, and his life at stake is on the line. She says she loves him whilst grabbing him, and then they kiss, and then they both run together away from everyone else, and they were being chased by the police as well. It's crazy. This volume's insane. I'm not giving away too much detail because I don't want to spoil the entire thing for you. I'm just picking out bits that just make it feel transformative and incredible. So I give this volume a 9.9 out of 10. And the story of Kentaro and Nero is so transfixing on how wonderful their relationship is together. It's so heartwarming to see them kiss and see them finally reach a goal that this manga needs to be set at, and honestly, it's interesting. So yeah, let's get to volume 13. So in volume 13 of Love Hina, in the start of this volume, Motoko was studying for her tryout to get into Tokyo U, and she sees Nero and Kentaro kissing, and because she loves Kentaro, she gets annoyed about it, and because of they do it every single second now after the trip where Kentaro and Nero say they love each other, and it full sends it. She has a fantasy about her and Kentaro together in a steamy dream. And honestly, she gets her test results back from Tokyo U, and she gets all F's, all the issues in everything, and honestly hasn't told her family she failed. And her sister comes to congratulate her by giving her money, praising her and everything like that, but then it turns south when she finds out that she didn't pass. And then Motoko has to be a nun, so she shaves off all her hair, she becomes a full-out nun and tries to run away from Kentaro. Comes after her, but when he finds out that Motoko's sister wants her to choose her own path, but she doesn't want her to follow orders, so then Motoko challenges her sister. They fight, and she says "I love you" to Kentaro and wins. And then in the best way possible, in a few chapters we see Kentaro have another dream about Nero and him going to Tokyo U together and getting married, and we find out that Kentro's aunt faxed saying that she wants to be there in 5 days, and she wants Kentaro to be married, and she'll give him everything if everything's top shape and doing good and kept up. And honestly makes everyone go a bit crazy. When Sue finds out, then we find out through going through this crazy arc that Sue's a princess, which is crazy. And honestly, Seta takes Kentaro without his permission, whilst Kentaro and Naru try to go to Tokyo U, and he legit takes him on the plane. Naru wants to go with him, but he gets left behind, and everything goes crazy. And pretty much Kentaro is stuck with Seta. Naru tries to go with them, but the plane goes as she goes after them, And honestly, she knows about the facts, but she keeps a clean head, and she's just focusing on her and Kentero's love. And honestly, we find out that Kentaro has his heart set on her only, and he wants her forever. It's cute. They make out, and Seta and his aunt. So they get married, and Kentaro and her have such a fantastic end to this volume, because Seta and his aunt get married, and it's pretty cool. It's 9.9 out of 10. It's fantastic. The story building and everything is amazing. Volume 14 of Love Hina is pretty much Naru overreacting through this volume, but there she finds out that she was the girl that made the promise to Kentaro back when they were kids, and Kentaro's grandma says that the girl's been standing by him, right next to him right now. It's so adorable. I love Kentaro and Naru together, and honestly it feels like a fantastic end. Honestly, so heartwarming and amazing. I teared up at the end when they actually got married, and there's a new character involved where she comes to the Hinata house, technically the same as Kentaro, but a woman version, and it seems like they would have made more. And to be honest, I just find this entire series heartwarming, loving, and amazing. Yeah, let's get on to the next book I am reading, that I've read this month. So I have been reading Finding Camellia. It's a manhwa, and honestly, this is pretty much what happened in the manga or the manhwa, and how I felt about it. So chapter 1, it starts out at night, whilst it's raining and dark and gloomy. Anastasia Bell and her guard is out looking for Camellia for some reason, and they find her on the pavement, which is pretty weird that they were looking for her, but technically we find out why in the future. But yeah, she technically finds her on the floor working, because she was birthed in a pleasure house. And honestly, Anastasia tells Camellia that her mother's sick, and then they hit her in the back of the head, which it was out of nowhere. I didn't expect her to get pounded in the back of the head, but yeah, they did. And then she wakes up in a golden room and meets her maid person, and her older brother comes in. Apparently her father owns this big manor house, pretty much a big manor house, and pretty much, and then her brother falls ill, which is sad. Then pretty much she goes out and sees Claude for the first time, and it looks like her eyes lit up a spark of love and a crush. At the time, kind of looks like a boy at the time, because Anastasia cut off all her hair and told her that she had to look like a boy and play as technically their son for the look of the family. And named Kieran. And then Kieran Bell Camelis is pretty much his name now. And Anastasia cut off his hair and pretty much told her to lie. And pretty much Kieran Bell is her half brother, and then pretty much Camillus and her brother go outside, they see Claude, and that's how they meet up, and that's how she gets pretty much love struck over Claude. So pretty much at the time he looks like a boy, and pretty much Camellia had Anastasia wants her to be more like Kieran in studies. So pretty much then Kieran defends Camellia at the table. And that's the end of part 1. Then at the end of part 1, she meets her father. Has come home and she meets him, and then she cries in his arms. Then chapter 2 starts with Anastasia and Camilla father talking about why Anastasia has made Camilla into a boy, and they start talking for a bit. Then we see some new faces. I think it's Marlene and her friend, who is the sister of Claude. And then you see Camilla trying to taste the snow, which was cute. And I think Claude had a little crush on pretty much him, technically, because it's a boy, but you know what, it's funny. So she was pretty much trying to eat the snow, and it was cute. It makes everyone think that she's like a street girl. Well, that's what Claude says anyway, to her. And then Claude is made to teach Camilla how to shoot a gun, and they are both close, and he says, "What did the snow taste like?" And then Camilla shoots and causes a burn mark that makes Claude's sister angry, and then has a go at Camilla, and she gets angry. And then Camilla's brother Kieran steps up and defends her. Then Camilla puts the snow on his burns and says she's sorry. And then when Anastasia and Camilla was alone, she slaps Camilla. It was not necessary to do that, and Claude was listening in on it. And when Camilla was outside, wishing to see her mother, Claude comes up and puts snow on her face and asked what her age was, and she said 12. And then he said when she makes it to his school, they'll see each other again. And then it makes pretty much a significant jump skip to Camilla is now 16, and she's being offered to go to a good education where Claude is, and she wants to go, so she begs her father, and he says to ask Anastasia. And pretty much it ends there at chapter 3, because Anastasia is gone with Kieran because he was ill, and they went up north where apparently a very good doctor is. But then chapter 3 is all about Camilla going to the capital, meeting Wade, who gets him into the clothing shop, and they go in without knocking, and Camilla sees Claude shirtless, and of course Camilla is starstruck. And honestly, we go to their home. Camilla and Claude ride together on a horse because he knows how to ride a horse, and pretty much they get to the house, and it looks incredible. Then he whispered in Camilla's ear to smile because he doesn't want to look like they're kidnapping her. And pretty much, honestly, they eat, and pretty much Claude wants her to eat. She then at night, she doesn't go to this wedding thing because she's not feeling well, but she's sitting at a window eating sweets, eavesdropping on Claude and this random woman's conversation. Then when the woman's gone, she tries to sneak back into her room, but she drops the entire sweet on Claude's face and tries to and pretty much Claude smiles and tries to go up and talk to her and be with her to spend time with him, but she doesn't want him to find out her secret. And honestly, it was tense, amazing. And at the end, Kieran was talking to Ian Sego at the end. To be honest, it stands out in one of the best anime / manga / it's just incredible. It's blown me away of how good that manhwa is. And I'm going to be picking up number 2 when I get it, and then number 3, and I just can't wait to read the entire thing. So this was a fantastic pickup from my monthly pickups or my Forbidden Planet pickups. This was really good. So let's get into the next book. Sword of the Titan is the next manga that we are going to be reviewing in this video. The boy's name is Tushimaru, who is 10 years old, and Hanaba, who's 5. It starts off seeing a person in a dark room saying that he's going to make the sword to kill a beast. And then it moves to chapter 1 with Maru and his sister Hanaba. And Maru tells his sister that wasn't meant to be with him in this forest. She smiles and says, "We got a lot, haven't we?" with a smile on her face again. And then there's this big ass beast that just comes swashing down with force, and almost kills his sister. But Maru saves his sister with his body. And his arm is all floppy and bleeding. And honestly, it makes me love this character because it shows he's brave for doing that and makes this story more engaging and entertaining and more amazing as well. Then we meet Sama, who saved Maru and Hanaba. And the beast runs away, and Maru sees that the sword Sama has can't penetrate the beast. Then, after all of the kerfuffle that happens and the beast is getting away, she heals Maru's hand because she has the divine power of a dynasty, which is really cool. They can't survive without her divinity power. And pretty much they have a party, and a blacksmith makes Sama a new sword because her sword split in two, and she kills the beast when it comes back to attack. And then Maru swears an oath to be by Sama's side, pretty much, and it's getting good. Building character for Maru. And then we get to chapter 2, which is where it starts with Maru trying his best to build an incredible sword. Then at the end of the chapter, Sama has to fight this big snake beast and gets hurt and is doing all she can, and then death, betrayal and loss in the next chapter. This chapter's dark. Maru sees Sama lose and his father and sister die in front of him because of this blacksmith that he looked up to betray his ass like hell. The whole town is wiped out, and Maru sees his sister. He tries to save his sister at this point and gets eaten with his sister, and then is in a dark place while looking at his sister while she's being dissolved by the snake thing. But the divine power of Sama literally saves his life, and pretty much before that though, his sister dissolves right in front of him, which is actually sad. And then he gets out of the snake and finds the fire divinity and is creating swords of the Titan. Chapter 4. Wow, this manga for this person's first story in ever, it blows my mind. It blows most of them out of the water. It's on par with Attack on Titan with storytelling, the darkness, and everything about it. It's like, wow. So chapter 5 or 4 starts out with Maru and the new divinity Mikoto, and it's been 9 years since the death of his family, and Mikoto is taking down a beast for food, and Maru is 19 now and is trying to perfect his sword making abilities. And then they have this small bird creature, and then they go towards Uchifu. There's a beast called 100 Swords that needs to be killed and hasn't been killed in ages at all. It's a strong warrior. And then they go on the way to Uchifu to meet up with their leader, and then they help them by showing how they create swords with pretty much the way that Mikoto uses fire or lava, and the way that Maru uses careful knowledge of creating swords, which is incredible. And pretty much they create a sword for their leader to go up against the beast of 100 swords. A big fight happens. Then Maru sees the sword that the blacksmith created back then when his family got killed, that betrayed him, his home and maid. And he was in shock, disbelief, and very sad, because it reminded him of his entire family getting slaughtered. And kind of weird in a way that he was happy, because he's getting closer to the target, the guy who's the blacksmith. And it ends there, but oh my god, what a story. It's so it's gritty and sad, and so much emotion into this story. It's a 10 out of 10 on this first volume. I'm just going to give it a 10 out of 10 in my books, because nothing's going to top it. It's so good. It's got emotion, it's got heart, it's got passion. It's perfect. So yeah, let's go on to the next book. Dragon and the Chameleon starts off with us meeting Garo when he pretty much switches bodies with a rookie manga artist. But then we meet him doing work on his new manga, or the manga that he's been doing for about 5 years, which is cool. And his entire team thinks he suffers whilst doing his work, because he's a happy-go-lucky guy. He's one of the best manga artists out there. So he's pretty much got the penmanship, the work, everything that's written down. And then we meet the chameleon, Mayama, who pretty much thinks he's a extra. And pretty much his quirk is to copy artists' styles and penmanship, and he's good at that. That's why he's named the chameleon. Then Mayama stabs his own hand, and then Garo tells him not to do that, because he has amazing hands, and he will one day create a unique manga, or a unique art style for him to become popular. He just has to take care of them. Then Mayama falls down the stairs. That's when everything goes downhill for Garo, because he goes after him to try and save him, and then ends up in the hospital. But there's a twist. Garo wakes up and finds himself in Mayama's body. And then he goes to the roof and finds his body with Mayama in it. And he won't give it back, the body, because he wants the glory of the great manga artist Garo made. He is pretty much the greatest apparently in this manga, and he wants the Dragonland for himself, the manga that he created. And Garo says he's going to make a new manga to catch up with him and take Dragonland down, which is really cool. And it's this is a really fantastic manga, because honestly it's like he's trying to be himself whilst himself not being there. So he's legitimately trying to catch him, and he takes his ideas to make a short published manga, so it's like a one shot, to a publisher in a publishing building. And then we meet Tajikawa. He gets in a room with Mayama, but it's Garo. And then he does this he shows him his incredible work, and then Tajikawa feels it in the chest when he's reading it, and pretty much Takikawa thinks that Mayama reminds him of Garo when he was younger, for being an incredible manga artist and showing his passion in his drawing style. And pretty much he gets him to ask him to do a one shot for him, and it's pretty cool. And then we get into the next chapter, we meet the editor, and then we see this female who is an artist, and some men are being mean to her and teasing her work about how she's set it out and stuff, and just teasing the way she's done it. And then they change their mind when they read Garo's work, and then they say they're sorry to the female, and he has a new contact, which is really cool because he's expanding his people that he can work with. It's crazy. His new contact is cool. Then in the final few chapters, Mayama goes to help a series on the brink of extinction, or pretty much they know they're getting axed, and it works on its last legs, and he helps them with confidence and strategies on how to fix up this big wide shot that he tells them about. And he says he could do the background. He makes the main guy, the manga author, change his mind completely, or artist completely change in what he was thinking, because he was thinking it was dumb and stupid, that his little manga was silly. Then Garo told him that he was being a little buddy thing, and he has to stick with confidence for his stuff, and does the background. And honestly, it was amazing. It was a dragon with explosions. It looked really cool. It looked like a berserk background. It was insane. It was really cool. And then he sees Mayama in his body at a convention, and then they both struck each other with a file blow at each other's artworks and the way they do stuff. And then hopefully at the end of this, in the next volume, we get to see that the studio that had the series that Garo was helping gets published, because the guy that is doing the reviews of them is apparently really difficult to work with. So yeah, let's go on to the next one. So for this manga review, I am doing a review on Corpse Blade. Now, honestly, I am so glad that I picked it up, because Tatsuki and the stranger that he meets is honestly incredible. So pretty much it's a zombie apocalypse. It's kind of incredible because it's just a zombies in this world. They come out of nowhere, and there's this girl who's a part of like this dojo. I'm still shocked from the ending, but all I can say at the moment is just fantastic. Tatsuki pretty much is, his only mission is to find his sister after the entire incident of the zombie outbreak becomes a thing. Power lines get shut off, everything goes tits up, zombies spawn in from anywhere. It's just crazy. He was with his sister, then loses his sister, and a few months later he meets up with this girl who's a part of the Corpse Blade group, I think, or the Hunters. And honestly, she's badass. I really liked her character from the start. She's badass, she's incredible, and when she gets bit, she can come back and fully recover. She's amazing. Wow. I love this manga to pieces. Like, I've only just read it, and at this point I want to give it a 9 point something, but I'm going to give it a 8.9 just in case volume 2 is better. I know it's a 6.3 on my anime list, but honestly it's my favourite. I really did enjoy this. I just sat down, read it tonight, and to be honest, it's blown my mind, like how good the characters are. Tatsuki wants to make this girl pretty much not doubt herself, continue fighting while she doesn't know if she's going to be pretty much a zombie or turn to a zombie, or she's not going to turn into a zombie. She's at that stage, but he's like, I trust you, be everything, and it's insane. And then she's like, oh, you can trust me, we all get your sister, and then they just spark each other very well. And then they fight this octopus boss, the octopus zombie, this big metal head zombie, and honestly, the action, the combat, the stance, everything in this is insane. It's really good. Check it out. I'll throw up some art on the screen, as you can see, but god damn it, this is one of my favourites I've read. I'm going to be picking more of this up. This is one of my favourites out of anything. The ending is a shocker. Spoiler warning for this bit, she does get fucking pelted by a fucking military gun into the head. I hope she's alive still. I hope she can regenerate. I hope she's got that ability. But my fucking god, my brain completely went, oh shit, this is how it's gonna end? I'm just in complete shock of how this ended completely, because I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't expecting it. But yeah, here's the ending, as you can see. Crazy. But yeah, wow, that's pretty much the end of this manga, this reading haul, or this reading what I've read in March. So yeah, peace. So yeah guys, hope you did enjoy this video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and yeah, let's see what happens in the next video that comes out. Peace.